Hey, my village, it's your Coach Mo. I am back. I know it's been a while since I made a video, but I am back and I will be posting videos 1 to 2 times a week, sharing amazing topics with you guys. For those who are new to my channel and don't know who I go by Coach Mo. My name is Monique. I am the owner of Monique Atkins Coaching. I'm a parenting and business coach. So, what I do is I help parents break generational curses, co-parent with success, master time management and work-life balance while building a legacy. I want them to be able to provide for and raise mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and healthy children. So today's topic is one that's a little controversial, but you guys know me. I'm not scared to talk about controversial topics. So today's topic is Black Lives Matter. So I picked this topic. It's not what you probably think. It's just sharing experience of how I experienced being a black woman in America. So a lot of times we have to work in certain conditions as a black person. I worked many places where I was the only black person in the building. I worked in the pharmacy industry. I worked in the medical field, medical billing. It was usually like you can count how many black people are there on one hand. Especially working in a pharmacy, I barely would see any other people who look like me in the pharmacy. Also, we have to work twice as hard to get the respect that we deserve. It don't matter how much education you have, it don't matter how much experience you have, you always have to work twice as hard. And people always say this. They're like, you guys work so hard and it don't pay off. And like some people get defeated by just having to work hard, and then you see the next person that don't have half the experience you got, half the education, half the good work ethics, and they would get promoted over you just because of how they look. We have to mask our feelings. So, like, our true feelings and our true hurt, especially in corporate America and in the workplace, we can't be us. We have to show up in our representative. We can't just be our natural self the way we are, where we come from. I used to get this all the time. People like, you don't seem like you came from Compton, California. And I'd be like, well, what do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean because I'm educated? Because I have degrees? Like, what do you mean? Because I don't talk like people you assume where I come from talk like? But we always have to mask our feelings. So if there's something going on in the workplace, usually we're not the one to voice our opinion because they assume or they look forward to you doing it just so they can be like, see, that's why we don't hire those type of people. Or you will be the angry black woman in the office. You're the problem child. You get so many labels tacked on you just for speaking up and speaking your true feeling, especially when it comes to injustice or inequality. We literally have to, like, some people sit outside their jobs in their car and have to meditate, have to woosah, have to play music just to mentally prepare themselves to deal with the people they have to work with. It's so stressful, and people don't understand that we've been going through this our whole life. So it's not new to us, but it's just now being spoken about and out in the opening, and people are starting to be woke, as you say. And they're starting to see what we're talking about now. It's becoming a little more obvious. The pandemic was pretty much like a blessing and a curse, but a lot more people are woke and they starting to see what's been happening all this time. We've been trying to tell them, but we've been marked as like, oh, you're just being the victim. People say like, oh, slavery is over. Why do y'all keep acting like we have slavery and stuff? But that's not the point. They just didn't see what was going on because they had rose-colored glasses on. Also, we have to coach our kids on how to act when they're stopped by police or with any like authority. How to, from generation to generation, we have to have those tough conversations. And as a parent and a parent coach, I've had so many people reach out to me like, how do you explain what we're seeing on the news and in social media to your kid? It's hard. Sometimes you just have to give it to them raw. Like me with my son, I don't sugarcoat. he needs to know the reality. My son used to come to me and it hurt my heart and say, "Mom, because I'm mixed or I'm yellow, are the police gonna kill me?" Like, no, you're still gonna be labeled black because I'm black. And it just hurt me. He just asked that at the age of 5, you guys. 5. Imagine having a conversation with a 5-year-old. Now he's 11 and he's starting to see it for himself and he's understanding it a little more. But it's still difficult conversation because it get worse. More and more people are dying. They're getting killed. He's like getting anxiety, afraid to go outside. I have to be the one to coach him out of those feelings, but still let him know it's still realistic. It could still happen. We try our best to give our kids a normal life and shelter them from it for a long time, but sometimes you cannot shelter them from reality. Sometimes you do have to have them experience and see this and be woke as well at a very young age. It took us a little longer because it wasn't happening as much, or actually it was still happening, but we didn't have the cameras and social media to blast and put it on the front line. But now they're in the world of technology and they're raised in that generation of everything is accessible. So we can't hide it. We can no longer mask it. We can no longer keep them from knowing what's really going on in our community, in our society, schools, all that, because they deal with bullying in schools. My son used to go to a school that was predominantly Mexican. Even though he believes in Mexican and black, that he's not Mexican enough. He had the good curly hair, the long hair, and the skin color, but he wasn't Mexican enough. Then he went to a school that was mostly black kids, and he wasn't black enough because most of them had dreadlocks and stuff. Now he got dreads, and I used to ask him, like, do you want dreads only because you want to feel like look more black? Because of the kids that was in our area at the time had dreadlocks and they were dark skinned. And he's like, no, but he wanted to do it because all the men in my family, my cousins and my brothers, all my brothers have dreadlocks. So he wanted to do it because of family and our culture. But it's hard. We do have to have those tough conversations with our kids about everything. They ask us, what do Black Lives Matter? Because they see it everywhere. Like my shirt, I got Black Businesses Matter. My friend made this shirt for me. We have had generational curses of mental, physical, and emotional abuse for a very long time. That instability for a very long time because our parents dealt with stuff. Their parents dealt with stuff. Their parents were around during slavery. They were around during our parents, maybe our grandparents are around during the Martin Luther King movement and all that. So it's trauma built on top of trauma, built on top of trauma, and it just keep getting passed down generation to generation. It's time for our generation to stop the mental, emotional abuse. Yes, we are triggered every time we turn the TV on. Yes, we are triggered every time we see a kid or a young black man getting killed by the police. Yes, it keep opening up the same wound, but there's therapy for that. There's counseling. We have to get the help to heal our wounds, even though I swear I feel like our people suffer from PTSD, and every time we see something on the news, it's a trigger. And it's kind of hard to heal because it continuously keep happening. So that wound the Band-Aid keep getting ripped off. But there are ways we can learn to cope, learn to process without anger, because it do eventually, you get sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. And eventually you do get angry. And that anger can turn into violence. That's why the protests, people go out and protest and they're mad, and people are like, why are you guys mad? The women have gotten that angry black woman tag for so long, and it's not that we're angry. We're just tired of having to pick our men back up. Our men are struggling mentally. Men, I encourage you to get therapy. I had a friend that called me yesterday, was like, Mo, I have a therapist now, and I didn't know I had these problems. But he finally, in his mid-30s, went and sought help. Because I used to tell him, there's something not right because you're really mad, you're angry. You need to figure out what you're mad at. And finally did it. And society, it took this year for all these occurrences and the pandemic to push him into going. He's like, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it by myself. Can't figure it out. Church wasn't going to help him, even though he come from a church family, preacher kid. And he just had to go another route because that's what helps you. It's not all the time that you can go to other people that have the same problem you have. They can't fix you. You have to go to someone else because that's how generational curses continue. You go into family and friends, that's not going to help you because they're suffering too. Nobody fixed it. I always talk to you guys about that. We have to pray a lot more than the normal person pray. That's why you always see a black woman in prayer warriors. We always circle around each other. That's why we're heavy in church and spirituality, because we prayed. I literally get in the car, and whenever I do leave the house, and pray, God, please let me make it to my destination safe and back home. Whenever my son leave the house to go outside to play, go to his friend's house, go to the pool, please let my son be protected in your armor because I'm scared that he might not come back. My son don't handle male authority too well, like when men yell at him, because I don't yell. So when people yell orders at him, he's shut down. He do not hear you. His ears turn off, and it will end up bad. So I get afraid for him to get stopped by a police or something, and if they get aggressive, he shut down because he gets scared, and that's his way of protecting himself because he's not used to that. He didn't grow up in drama. He didn't grow up in a household that yell and stuff like that. We know how to communicate, and that's what he know how to do. So when you do otherwise, he don't take it too well. Also, we bite our tongue a lot on a daily basis because sometimes there's retaliation, especially with employers. They will retaliate. You are like the whistleblower because you report someone for being like inequitable treatment. Sometimes they will retaliate against you. You'll wind up losing your job. And sometimes we get afraid that that's what will happen, or we'll lose our job, or we will not be able to provide for our family and our security is gone. Especially when you're one of the lucky ones to get a good job and a good opportunity with good pay. You do everything you got to do. Bite your tongue, everything. Pray, cry when you get home, be stressed out, overwhelmed, drained, to keep that job and that income, because it don't come to us too often. We don't get those big leadership roles and stuff like that. Also, we don't speak up much because of just being afraid. And I know God didn't bring fear. Fear is not real. It's not in the Bible. It's not from God. But sometimes we do. We fear our life when we come in contact with law enforcement. Just driving your car is fearful. Not from being in an accident, not from like hitting something or get stolen. No, just being pulled over for no reason. Y'all know that term, driving while black. We say that for a reason. And with the pandemic, our like the idiocy, I don't know if that's a word, but people have acted so ignorant. All the racism is coming out. People are really showing their true colors, starting with our leader, our president. Like, we have come to a point where we're just fed up, we're tired, and a change has to happen because enough is enough. And that's where we're at now. Like, too often we wake up to another person being killed, to watching some Karen. I like that new term, Karen, because some people will go back to back with a Karen. Like, why are you in my business? Keep it pushing. I seen a video yesterday on the plane with a Karen. The lady wasn't having it. She shut her down, put her in her place. Like, I'm not talking to you. Stay out of my business. I don't respond to you. I don't report to you. You're not my boss. You're not my leader. She had to shut her down. And it's time, because sometimes we held our tongue too long. Um, the police don't get charged for the stuff they do, so that also is a trigger, and it makes us mad because we try to see the same thing over and over and over happen. No justice is served. These families are out fighting for justice for their family member that was killed, wrongfully jailed, all these different things, but nobody get punished for it. Why are we the only ones with consequences? And that's where we're at. Like, why are we the only ones with consequences? Um Basically, what we need to do is we need to get, I say all that to say this. These are the things we need to do for ourselves. We need to get mental help. Do mental check-ins with your friends and family, because I know, like me, my anxiety just been like super triggered this whole year. I'll get to the point where I finally like calm down when stuff starts to die down a little, but then it's triggered again when something else happened. But we need to do mental check-ins for our family and friends. I do them all the time. I check in on my friend, like, you good? I haven't seen you on social media. Um, Especially like our parents, they're getting older. They've been dealing with this a lot longer than us. Our elderlies, your aunties, uncles, things like that. Invest in your community. We have to recycle our own dollars. In order for us to get the respect that we deserve, we have to just stop spending money where we're not appreciated. Things like that. Invest in our own community. Bring programs to our community. It could be free programs, whatever. Daily, what I have to do before dealing with people, before turning any TV on, I try not to watch TV. I don't watch the news. I stopped watching the news a little over a year ago. But we need to meditate. So I have my prayer journal, and what I do every day is start my mornings 5 a.m., 6 a.m. in my prayer journal, and I meditate to like meditation music, sometimes just in quiet, because I just want to hear whatever message God have for me, and I'll journal after, and that's part of my meditation as well. But I'll light turn on my salt lamp, meditate, some soft music. But to protect my energy before dealing with people, I have to do that every day. Because otherwise, if you don't protect your energy, it's going to drain you. Especially if you turn the TV on and start seeing all this stuff, it is going to drain you. Pray. Stay prayed up. This year has been a crazy year for everybody else, but it's been a very blessed year for me because I stayed prayed up, consistent with my tithe and offering. And it has been amazing. God has sent me so many blessings. So stay prayed up. Protect yourself with prayer. We need to come together. We need to stop being everyone for themselves. That's what has hurt our community so much. People are greedy. They don't want to be equal. They always want to compete against each other. So we need to come together. Stop competing against each other. We can have banks. We can have schools. We can have our own libraries and teach our own Black history and stuff like that. If we will combine our resources together, that's the only way we're going to move up, is if we collaborate, come together, make a plan. We need to make a plan. Have like what I used to call masterminds. Last year I was part of a mastermind group, and it was a group of female entrepreneurs who all were Black owned businesses. We all would come together, and we did a collaboration together for an event for single moms, for Valentine's, because they're always forgotten. Gave away free massages, free coaching sessions. We did like fast, speedy coaching sessions, and I did fashion. So I'll accessorize them. They got photos taken, everything, and it was a really, really, really fun day. But we just have to do stuff for our community. We have to collaborate together. We have to make a plan, and just get a group of people together to plan different events and different things. Also, protesting have not really gotten us too far. It just got us more views, and people became more knowledgeable about our experience. But we need to try other options other than protesting. We can have meetings. We can do like what we call like town halls, stuff like that. Meet with government officials, things like that. Looting is not the answer, that's for sure. when they have dates where they tell you don't spend or only spend on black businesses. Support the black owned businesses, because those businesses have worked a lot harder than most businesses to stay in business, to start. We don't get approved for those loans. We don't, except for black banks, and even then it's kind of a little hard. But we have to be our own financer, everything. We the end all be all for our business when we start. We can't afford to hire people in the beginning. Like me, I do my own videos, my editing, my content, built all my programs, handle all the day to day. I hire people for certain little things every once in a while, but we are everything in our business until we don't have to be. But that's all I wanted to tell you guys today. Until next time, Coach Mo out.